All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Man to Man Sunday Morning Fantasy Show. I am joined today by Asher and Cody, my buddies over at TAV Sports. Guys, how we doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Asher, how are we?
Oh, big chillin', ready for the week.
Yes, sir. I'm feeling especially good after hitting my $1,000 parlay on Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir, Ski.
Just-
That was nuts.
As a lot of guys from the Angry Vets know, I'm a big Michigan fan. So yesterday was a pretty big one for us Michigan fans.
Yes, sir. I was watching that whole game. I was dumbfounded how Ohio State was stuffed out. That offense has looked unbeatable at times.
Yeah, I think the big X factor in that one is being able to just rush forward against those guys and being able to sit back and cover those wide receivers with Aiden Hutchinson just being able to get back there every single play, man. That guy's a true beast. I think he should be easily a top 3 pick.
I was going to say, I've seen him as top 10, but after watching him on the big stage, I think I moved him up to top 7 at least, just based off team needs and everything. But very big win. And Asher, Minnesota with a big upset.
Yes, sir, Ski. Couldn't happen at a better stadium. TCF Bank. Crowd went wild. Gotta roll that boat, baby. Gotta get that axe back. Bring it back to Minnesota.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Western Michigan alone.
Western Michigan. All right. I don't know why, but I just got some ad blasted into my headphones. I'm doing great. So we're going to start off show kind of as per usual today with a little injury report. I don't have a whole list set up like Justin usually does. He's not joining us this week because I believe he is going to visit some relatives.
Yeah. I got some. I got the list pulled up for myself.
Yeah, I have the CBS that I'm pulling up as we speak. But you get started off.
Absolutely. So Kyle Rudolph, not a huge fantasy relevant name, is inactive for Week 12. Kadarius Toney will be inactive for Week 12. Hunter Henry is expected to play. Ramondre Stevenson is expected to play. Damian Harris also expected to play. Aaron Jones is going to be a game time decision, although some people are saying that it's not looking too good for Aaron Jones
coming
into this game.
Game too.
Yeah. So to be safe, if you have another option besides Aaron Jones, like you have AJ Dillon just chilling on your bench, I'd say make that swap now. Or anybody else that's playing in the 6 or the 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock window, if you will. Donovan Peoples-Jones is expected to play. Cordell Patterson, a game time decision as well. They're saying he's feeling much better and he should be good to go. Elijah Mitchell expected to play. Marquise Brown expected to play. Saquon Barkley also expected to play. Ricky Seals-Jones is doubtful. Curtis Samuel is questionable for Week 12. Antonio Gibson shin doesn't carry any injury designation coming into the game. Alex Collins not on the final injury report, so he should be expected to play this week.
Not that healthy, good.
With Rashad Penny ruled out for Week 12, Alex Collins should take
lion's share.
Yeah, a lot heavy workload. Eric Ebron placed on injury reserve. We'll get into Big Daddy Patty later on. Michael Carter placed on the IR. And that's the lineup that I have so far. You guys have anything else?
A couple that I have here. One of the big surprises for me that came out, I believe it was yesterday, if not the day before, AJ Brown was placed on injury reserve, just seemingly out of the blue. Like, I know he's been dealing with they have a chest on here. I thought that he was dealing with a leg injury all season, and he had the leg injury last year. But he just seemingly got put on IR for a chest injury. And they're saying it's not a season-ending injury. Does anyone know any more about that?
I don't. But, I would imagine they're probably just doing the 3-week minimum deal with him if they can. You know what I'm saying? I would imagine they want him out there. They're probably not gassing that up too much.
Yeah, I was just surprised to kind of see it out of the blue.
What do we even want to invest in this passing game at all, man? Are you guys completely out as well? I think I'm out on this with Westbrook and Des Fitzpatrick and these guys.
Westbrook has had his fair share of targets the past couple of games. I like Westbrook coming into the game, but there's always better options than him
Exactly.
going in. If you don't have any better options, Westbrook isn't a terrible play, but I also probably would avoid that wide receiver core, that passing game.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit more about kind of that situation once we get to our start, sit, sleeps. But I 100%, I might even go as far to say that I'm just out on the Titans until they get some of this talent back, because they've found out a way to win thus far, but they also find ways when they don't have their talent to lose to the Jets and the Texans. So I think that just for going forward, before we get into start, sit, sleep, all I'll say is I'm very much out on the Titans for the next couple of weeks until they get some of this talent back.
Yeah, I agree, man. They need to, especially and you got to think they let Johnny walk in the offseason too. Like, imagine they could really use that piece right now.
Well, and I don't even know if they quote unquote let him walk though, because he got thrown a ton of money to go up to New England. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So, but AJ Brown,
block.
Yeah, just to block and run out of the backfield. I don't get it.
I mean, that didn't even make sense for him to go up to New England either, to be honest with you. I mean, they got Hunter Henry, and now they decided to sign Jonnu as well.
Well, Jonnu got signed first, and then they brought in Hunter Henry, so he might have not known their plan.
Oh, okay. Well, then, I mean, maybe it makes a little bit more sense as far as Jonnu's side, but as far as New England Patriots tight ends go, man, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up.
Well, they are one of the teams that knows how to run a 2 tight end set, so I guess it makes sense.
They had Bennett and Martellus Bennett and Gronk and Aaron
Hernandez. And they're a team that knows how to utilize 2 tight ends, but
and a rookie quarterback. I imagine they wanted to depend on that a little bit, but
I agree 100%. Tight ends help out rookies a bunch.
It always helped to run a 2 tight end set with Gronk in your system. I mean, let's be real; he's one of the best pass blocking tight ends in the league. A lot of guys are going to try to stick him in the middle of the field, so why not run that extra tight end set and get some guy out there? So I mean, if they're planning on doing that with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, they better start doing that quick, because I'm not seeing a whole lot of it.
We could talk about the Patriots later. I really don't want to.
I feel like this could go on for
for real.
This seems like something we could talk about on Monday's show.
Yeah, a podcast in itself.
But I will be flying back out to school tomorrow, Asher. So I might be having to tap out because my flight is at noon. So it's literally at the most inopportune time.
Yeah, but do what you got to do.
I got to get back out of school. I got to get to class. Finals. Did you talk about Corey Davis, Asher?
I did not know.
Corey Davis, doubtful for the game today. I think it's a huge hit for Zach Wilson, who's coming back this week that you mentioned. But fantasy-wise, and I'm going to get into him a little later, and I won't expand too much on it, but I think it could mean a huge day coming for Elijah Moore again.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Wilson is a huge hit on Zach Wilson. So, I mean, I'm not quite sure how much damage Corey Davis out of the system could do for him, but it definitely doesn't do any good.
Well, you just got to remember when it was preseason and the early games, Corey Davis was getting all the targets when Zach Wilson was out there. He was his favorite target.
Yeah, but Zach Wilson loves his deep ball, and who better to throw it to now than Elijah Moore, who's established himself in the deep ball game.
Like I said, I will get there when I get there. Cody, you got a comment?
I'm really sad that I didn't get Elijah Moore on my Saints. I think this kid is an absolute superstar. I absolutely love that. With Corey Davis out, this kid was already, I think, becoming the number one and option in this offense, and now it's just an even bigger target share.
Yeah, well, and I saw a stat on one of my Jets fan sites or whatever. Over the past 3 games, Elijah Moore has 30 targets, 33 targets, 18 catches for I want to say it was 300 yards and 4 touchdowns or something over 3 games.
Yeah, he's going to be an absolute superstar. I'm really mad that he's on the Jets.
I'm mad he's on the Jets, but I'm also very thankful he's on the Jets.
If Zach Wilson comes around and he's really able to get the ball going, man, I hope I wouldn't be as upset, but it just feels kind of like a wasted opportunity at the moment for me.
100%, I agree. Antonio Brown also out for the game. He's, I think, what is he dealing with? An ankle now or something?
Oh,
I think
Who?
it's
I
an
had to look it
ankle.
up.
Say that again.
Antonio Brown,
Yeah.
yeah, it's an ankle injury. He's still
He's-
out.
It's been nagging him like all year, man. I don't know what's going on. And then he's got the chef outing him, his
The
personal
chef.
chef.
Yeah. Another, I don't know, Asher, if you read this off, but a very big thing for today's game in the New York Giants Philadelphia game. Sterling Shepard and Kadarius Toney well, Shepard is out and Toney is doubtful. If they're missing those two guys and it's just Galladay, I mean,
Big Evan Ingram game. No Rudolph either.
right, right. Evan
Ingram's going to
Ingram.
see 90% of the snaps easy.
I mean, probably it's gonna be him and Galladay, and then like, wait, is Slayton back? I guess he's still there. So
So you might see a John Ross deep shot somewhere in there.
John Ross. Yeah, I guess they have Slayton, Ross, and then Colin Johnson, whoever that is.
He came from the Jags last year, young 23-year-old kid. He's a real big body, possession type kind of guy, but he's been very quiet this year. They signed him in the offseason.
Fair enough. I also see John Ross is questionable, so that's very interesting. And then, Asher, I think you hit all of the tight ends that I wanted to kind of talk about.
My apologies.
No. I like that's good. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any, but you talked about Henry being questionable, Jonnu being questionable, Logan Thomas coming back from IR. Did you mention that?
It's a big one in this week.
I did not know.
It's a very big one.
Especially with Ricky Seals-Jones doubtful for the game. I think having Logan Thomas back and the chemistry he has with Taylor Heineke that we saw last year is going to be very big.
And the Seahawks can't stop the passing game this year.
Especially versus tight ends, I believe, and I should have had this pulled up. I believe they're like bottom 5 versus tight ends.
I have it pulled up right now, actually. They are... Well, they're ranked 16th against the tight end. It's the middle of the pack, but against the quarterback, they're ranked 4th. So, I mean, I think Taylor Heineke's going to have a nice game here, and he's gonna find his tight end.
Yes, sir. And I don't know how much I love Logan Thomas personally. I actually don't love a lot about his game, but I don't even know where I was going with that. I think that's all I had left for the injury report. Other than Nick Folk, the number 1 scoring kicker, is questionable. I know that affects so many people. Does anyone have anything else they wanted to bring up before we head into our start, sits, and sleeps for the day?
It's not really necessarily an injury, but you do got the Jordan Howard injury. That can help Miles Sanders out and his snap percentage and whatnot. The Eagles running. Actually, I'll hit that in my start sits. So
Fair enough.
Cool. But that's another injury. Jordan Howard in the mix.
Oh, I did miss that, didn't I? Dang. Yeah, I mean, I actually also had Sanders somewhere in my situation that's here, but Asher, do you have anything else?
No, I think we're good.
So for those that don't know, Cody, I keep wanting to say Corey because we've had Corey on so much.
Oh, good, man.
We're going to start with the starters, quarterbacks. I have 2 kind of picked out on my little whiteboard here for each position. In case I get sniped, I'll rotate between Asher and Cody for which position starts which, and I will finish up. So with that, I will ask Cody, our guest of honor, starter quarterback for the week. Who's popping off?
All right. Well, I think I got to go chalk with this one. You know what? No, I'm not going to go chalk. I think I could have gone chalk, but everybody's going to already know him. We're going to go with Tyrod for this one. Tyrod, he's a very serviceable backup. I actually could have probably put him in my sleeper, but I like him as an actual start this week. If you need a serviceable guy in that spot, like a Tannehill, like going against New England, I'm not interested in that matchup at all. I would much rather have the Jets are giving up big points to the quarterback. They give up the 3rd most points in the league, and Tyrod's ran for 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games, and he's ran over 20 yards in the last 3 or 4 games. So he's getting rushing production with his legs, and we know he can. I mean, he's a serviceable guy with his arm too, and I mean, Brandon Cook should have a nice game this week.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets can't stop anyone.
They're giving up the ninth. I should also point out the Jets are giving up the 9th most rushing touchdowns to quarterbacks as well.
9th most rushing touchdowns to quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Oof.
I guess that's fair. I think I don't know.
That's huge. That's huge, and when it comes from Tyrod, at least.
Yeah,
yeah, especially because he had 2 last week. Yeah, where I want to make sure that we have the same list. Where are you pulling the quarterback numbers or like the fantasy points against numbers?
I'm getting mine from Fantasy Pros.
Fantasy Pros. Okay, fair enough. I was on NFL Fantasy, and I feel like they're very wrong because they have the Jets down at like they're the 22 best. They're giving up 18 points to the quarterback, and I'm like, there's no way that this scoring system is the same.
Oh, jeez.
There's no way. Anyway, Asher, who do you got as your starter quarterback for the week?
Yeah. Before I want to preface this with, Cody, don't be afraid to go with the chalk. I know you love your hot takes, but when it comes to starts and sleeps, we could talk about like Tyrod and all that for the sleepers. Don't get me wrong. I like Tyrod as a starter as well, but I am going to go with the chalk here. I'm going to go with my guy, Jalen Hurts, against New York Giants this week. I have to go Jalen Hurts for the simple fact that he is starting to have a huge rapport with Devonta Smith. He is looking to take over as the franchise quarterback for this system and for this team. He really has a lot to prove coming into this divisional matchup, especially with wild card implications. Going forward with the Philadelphia Eagles and how well their defense is playing. So Jalen Hurts really needs to step up in the spotlight, and what better matchup than the New York Giants?
He's a dog.
I love Jalen Hurts this week.
I actually have a bet in this week on DraftKings for Jalen Hurts to score 2 rushing touchdowns. It's a prop.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
It's like plus 800 or something like that.
All in on that. You can't be telling me those things. I love both those picks. I am going with a guy that – where did I have him? I had him as a sleeper last week versus Washington, and I got him as my starter this week versus Miami. I'm going with Cam Newton.
That's what I was going to say.
Absolutely balled out last week versus Washington. And Miami's defense to the quarterback position, I believe – where did they go? Oh, I lost them. Where are they? They're 21 to the quarterback position. They're giving up pretty decent number, but they are starting to fall apart. And those corners that everyone was so hyped up about coming into the year have just not been as dominant as anyone has expected them to. They're the best. I think personally that they're the best duo in the league between Xavier Howard and who's their other one? Byron Jones, technically.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're one of the more gifted duos, but it just isn't working for them, and they're not off the field enough to catch a break. And I think that one thing that Carolina does very well is push the pace, and Cam Newton's the perfect guy for that system, and I think he's going to absolutely ball out this week versus Miami.
Absolutely.
I like it.
Love the play, man.
Oh, yeah. We love it. Kind of glad that you didn't go with them.
I wanted to go Cam, to be honest.
I'm a little sad though because I did tell someone to start Cam over Dak this week with his receivers out, and we all know how that worked out. It turned into a 5-hour long game.
Yeah, ridiculous game.
All right, are we still on the quarterbacks here?
No, we I think we move on to our starting running backs here.
Oh, okay.
Tom's on mute.
All right. So is that to me here?
My mic cut out. That's bad.
We can move on to you for starting running backs.
All right. So I was already getting into him a little bit. Well, you know what? I know Tom said he was going to talk about him too, so I'll save him for Tom. I'll move on to Javonte Williams this week against. Yeah, I like Javonte, man. Last week Melvin Gordon fumbled the ball. And after Melvin Gordon fumbled, Javonte got 78% of the snaps throughout the rest of that game. The Chargers are giving up a league worst 1,199 yards, almost 1,200 yards on the ground, just pure rushing. and then 13 touchdowns to running backs. So Javonte, I think this is his big week. The Chargers a little bit stingier through the air. Cortland hasn't been very great. The Broncos passing game in general hasn't. I mean, you get a guy here or there. Tim Patrick blows up 1 week. Jerry Jeudy has a decent week here. But I think this is the week you see Javonte Williams really kind of break out of his shell.
Yeah, I actually was going to go with both of the Denver running backs. I think that this is going to be a very run-heavy – no, you're good.
I was trying to save you the one because I thought.
No, I'm gonna use the one now. That was my backup that I had saved.
Okay.
Unless Asher here is gonna snipe me, then I have a third saved.
Just go with your pick.
No, go for it. I love the Denver running backs though. I think Gordon. I love Javonte Williams. I think that he's a lot better than Melvin Gordon at this point, or at least he's going to be better going forward. But the only thing that saves Melvin Gordon's fantasy value is that he's a siphon for touchdowns. I don't know why. I don't know how, because Javonte Williams is bigger and should be used in the red zone, but Gordon gets all those touchdowns there.
An interesting stat I've seen this week too, man, on PFF. Kind of like some of these little PFF stats. Javonte Williams actually leads the league among all running backs for breakaway potential after the tackle. So, I mean, that's pretty nuts with seeing the 50-50 workload. If he gets a 60 or 70 kind of % share out of this backfield of Melvin Gordon, man, that could be really, really huge.
I agree 100%. I love Javonte Williams. I took him in like 4 of my leagues that I'm in. I love him. He's amazing. Oh, damn. All right, Asher, are up with your running back.
Yeah, I have 2. Well, I mean, I had 2 names, but I was trying to figure out which one I wanted to start, which one I wanted to sleep. But for my start, I'm going to go with Miles Sanders against the New York Giants. I like Miles Sanders this week. Last week, he had 16 attempts with 94 yards, with 5.8 yards per carry. Even though he didn't get a touchdown, he still had a solid game back from injury, almost reached the 100-yard mark. And going against New York Giants, Miles Sanders, I see Miles Sanders having a great game, especially with Jordan Howard out for the game. It's definitely going to give Miles Sanders a larger workload.
Also 100%. Worth noting, Eagles running backs are receiving over 30 rushes a game the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, so I like Miles Sanders as my starter this week.
You know, we've had the conversation about Miles Sanders that the Eagles just don't know how to use him.
Yeah.
Because I'm very afraid. I didn't know where I wanted to put Miles Sanders because I do think he's going to have a good game. But the way that we saw him utilized in the beginning of the season scares me, especially when he's the only running back, because I have a feeling that Sirianni doesn't like Miles Sanders or something, because there's no reason he shouldn't be getting 20 touches a game, whether it's on the ground or through the air. But he did get injured, but I'm saying in the weeks that he wasn't, when he was putting up like 5 points, when Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell were each putting up like 10.
Yeah, it seemed like they were just committing to the pass. Early on in the season, where those guys were just—it's like they did a complete 360. Like the guys were getting you'd see like the running backs get 9 touches the whole game, and then now they're getting, like I said, the last 3 weeks they're getting over 30 rushes a game from these guys.
When I think part of that too was Sirianni was so excited to use Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts, I think, I love Jalen Hurts. I'm very pissed that he's on the Eagles. I was pissed when they drafted him because I liked Jalen Hurts in college. He had the aura around him that he was a winner.
He's got that dog in him.
He's got the dog in him. Exactly. That's a great way to phrase it. That's how we're going to refer to Jalen Hurts from now on this show. He's got that dog in him, and he's a winner. He finds a way, and he loved that about Jalen Hurts. So he let Hurts run all over defenses and use the legs to extend the plays and then use the arm. I think that now Hurts is still doing that, just not as frequently. He's more taking off when he needs to scramble, instead of Sirianni calling more designed quarterback runs, which I think is benefiting the running back. So, like I said, I didn't know where I wanted to put Sanders this week, but I do think he's going to have a good game, and I love the pick.
Yeah, no, they're going to have to learn at some point how to use Miles Sanders, and what better way than a divisional matchup against New York. I think Miles Sanders has a heck of a day. I do have 2 injury updates. Cordero Patterson will play. He's officially active for the game and will play this week. And Kadarius Toney is officially out for the week.
Yes, indeed. That is
It's a big blow.
little unfortunate. With that, I will go with my starter running back for the week, and I think it should be relatively self-explanatory. I'm going with James Robinson versus the Falcons. That guy is the entire offense for Jacksonville. I know we talked about Jamal Agnew before the show being out, or I guess during the show, and talked a little bit about Laviska Shenault getting involved in the run game. But I think that James Robinson is going to be the one that benefits most from Jamal Agnew's absence, as they're going to go to him more on the run for those short gain pickups that they'll need, or they could potentially use him a little more in the passing game because he does have that ability to catch the ball and move with it well off the catch. So I'm going with James Robinson this week.
Love the play. Love that play.
I also just got Corey Davis is officially out.
Yeah, that's another tough one for the rookie.
Officially out. Okay, and with that, we will go to our wide receivers. Fancy. And I know we just talked about someone being out that affects mine. I'm just throwing that out there. So with that being said, Cody, who do you got?
All right. I'm going to look at Brandon Ayuk this week.
Yeah, that was my backup.
So I like a lot of these Vikings 49ers this week, to be honest with you. It's the second highest over-under total on the whole slate of games, just under the Tampa Bay-Indianapolis game, the highest total. Ayuk has got 92% of the snaps last week. Debo's getting a little bit more work from the backfield when Elijah Mitchell was out and stuff, and Mitchell's still banged up with a finger injury. I don't know if he's going to be seeing like a normal workload this game or not. The Vikings have allowed the 5th most points per game to wide receivers and the 2nd most touchdowns. And as we know, I just snuck into the end zone, 2 of the last 3 weeks?
I believe so.
Yes.
I know he did last week for sure. So I like that play a lot this week. I think he's going to see a decent amount of targets, especially around the red zone.
Yeah, I think Ayuk is finally starting to get reintegrated into that offense.
Out of the doghouse.
Yeah, I don't know why he was in it to begin with. Does anyone maybe have a theory?
I wish I could tell you.
I don't understand why. Like, Debo is honestly great. He's amazing, and I hated Debo coming into the season, but
I think Debo is just a little more versatile than Ayuk is. Ayuk has had his fair share of problems, but I don't think he deserved to be in the doghouse for as long as he was.
I was at the Week 1 49ers-Lions game, and I just remember seeing him on the sideline all game long, and I'm like, what is going on right now?
Yeah. I wish I had more to say about him. I actually haven't watched that many 49er games because I tend to get pissed off from the Jet game and then throw on Red Zone while I do some homework or something. So, Asher, who do you got?
No, I'm going to let you take this one away.
Damn right.
I don't want to take your starter after your backup was just taken. So.
Oh no, I would always have a third on, but I'm going with it anyway because it's my guy. I'm going with Elijah Moore versus Houston, especially with Corey Davis out. I was telling them guys before the show, I think I saw a stat where over the past 3 games he has 18 catches on 33 targets for like 400 yards, I think it was, or somewhere along those lines, and 4 touchdowns in 3 games. He's been absolutely going crazy. Zach Wilson comes back this week. I think he's a better suitor to throw the deep ball, which is kind of Elijah Moore's specialty. Not that Mike White, rip Mike White, by the way, Mike White or Joe Flacco couldn't get it deep. I think Zach Wilson's just better than both of them at getting it deep. And especially with Corey Davis out, who is averaging, where is it? He was averaging 9 targets when he was healthy and Zach Wilson was healthy. I think that it's going to be a big day for Elijah Moore, but I could also see the uptick to Crowder. But I think Moore benefits the most from this. So I'm expecting a huge day versus this Houston defense that is giving up Oh, where did they go? The 7th most fantasy points to the wide receiver. I'm going with Elijah Moore all day.
Yeah, I was going to go with him as well. I also had 3 wide receivers on the slate, though. The other one was going to be Marquise Brown, but his status still hasn't changed whatsoever. And I know he's slated to play. They're expecting him to play, but at the same time, I don't want to talk about a guy that might not play. So to be safe, I'm going to go with my third option, which is Jerry Jeudy against the Los Angeles Chargers.
Love it.
He has 28% target share since he's been whacked back since week 8. Teddy Bridgewater, Jerry Jeudy's his favorite target in the pass game. I expect Jerry Jeudy to have a great game, especially with the rookie and the guy that's kind of been bringing the defense together, Asante Samuel Jr., out with a concussion. I see Jerry Jeudy having a heck of a game against Los Angeles Chargers.
Absolutely love that pick. Jeudy was a guy that I was going to turn to if you decided to break my little heart.
I was going to, but I thought I'd just let you have it.
Absolutely love Jerry Jeudy. Did I? Oh, I didn't. I also don't love Cortland Sutton this week. I thought I put him in later, but Sutton is gone way down since Jeudy came back. So absolutely love that.
Yeah. Good plays.
Right.
I'm not high on Patrick or Sutton this week. If there's one receiver target from that passing game, it's Jeudy.
100% agree.
Big booty Jeudy.
Big booty Jeudy, indeed. Let us move on to our tight ends. And Cody, I think, is in for a treat once we get past his selection. Because I don't think Cody's been here for our weekly selection.
I'm not letting you take this one from me. I gave you Elijah Moore, so you're
I'm not gonna switch it.
I'll just take it. No, I'm gonna go. I'll save him for you guys. I'm gonna go with Dan. I'm gonna go with Dan Arnold with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, hang on a second. If everyone is in consensus, we can just have a group discussion.
Absolutely, I'm all down for that.
I'm all down for it.
All right, yeah. I mean, let's just go for it, man.
We're riding the bus. I hope Justin's watching as we get into this part of the segment.
All right, Pat Fryermuth, man. The Muth is loose.
Big Daddy Patty.
Yep. Eric Ebron's on IR. We got Pat Fryermuth busting out of his shell again. Eric Ebron was already out prior, and we've seen him just break out. This Steelers offense is really, really predicated on. I mean, Ben can't push the ball down the field, man. That's what's basically phased Claypool out of the game, and it's just all Deontay Johnson, Pat Fryermuth, and Najee Harris dump offs and screens and all these little dink and dunks.
With Ebron out, we've seen Pat Fryermuth, I believe, catch 4 touchdowns on the year. Asher, Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
He's easily the number 1 target in the red zone.
100%, which we all thought was going to be Claypool, but I loved Fryermuth coming out of the draft. Justin, if he were here, would 100% agree with me that I've said since the beginning, since he's been drafted, he is going to be the next great Steeler tight end. And I know Steeler tight ends aren't necessarily known as great when you think about like Heath Miller, right? Like he's not the most commonly known tight end, but he was a great tight end for Big Ben early in his career. And I think Pat Fryermuth is starting to kind of show that he can fill that kind of pass catching tight end role. And he's a phenomenal run blocker. So I said at the beginning of the season, I thought it was going to be 10 weeks before he took over the starting role full time from Ebron, because I think Ebron has had that one magical season with the Colts where he scored like 15 or 18 touchdowns or whatever he scored. And it wasn't sustainable and it wasn't going to be replicated with Ebron's skill set. Fryermuth, I think, is the future in Pittsburgh, and he just adds to that young receiving core that they have built up for whatever quarterback the Pittsburgh Steelers decide to bring in next.
Yeah, I'm not going to stray away from the train here. Big Daddy Patty is and will always be one of my favorite tight ends in this league. One of these days, I will invest in his jersey.
I will too.
I absolutely love the guy. Eric Ebron is out. Big Ben loves his red zone target with Patty, and I think he has a great day today. I don't see any other better tight end to be slotted for this week. So I'm not going to stray here. I'm going with Big Daddy Patty for sure.
His nickname at Penn State was actually Baby Gronk.
Yeah, Baby Gronk.
I mean, listen, I traded for him in 2 leagues and drafted him in 2 leagues, so he's kind of my ride or die tight end this year.
I got him in Dynasty for a couple of leagues, so he's my ride or die for the length of my Dynasty leagues.
Yeah, that's a great Dynasty pickup.
Oh, we absolutely love it. Love to see it. Big Daddy Patty for the win. Let's do a speed run of defenses to start this week. Don't have to really talk about anyone. You just pick a defense.
Yeah, I'll start it off. Oh, go ahead, Cody. Go ahead.
All right, I was gonna go with an Eagles defense against the Giants. We were already talking about the Giants have everybody out, man. You got like we were just already saying Tony's out. Who's the other receiver out?
Shepard.
Shepard's out. Yeah, Rudolph is out. The offensive line isn't too great. Daniel Jones has got that look in his eyes like he's just ready to throw a pick at any time. So I'm going to go with that Eagles D, man. I see big play Slay making a big play here one of these times and make something happen.
I was going to go Eagles as well, but for the sake of playing – no, you're good. For the sake of playing devil's advocate, I'm going to go with Patriots defense against Tennessee.
Damn it.
Have to.
I'll go with my sleeper defense, I guess, as my starter. I'll go with Carolina versus Miami, and I'll just come up with something on the fly for my sleeper. Like, Jesus.
Hey, he took mine. It's only fair that I take yours.
Yeah. Oh, I'll remember that. All right, with that, we will move on to the sitters and the sit-ems, as we call them. I don't know why I said sitters. My head is just not here today, guys.
No, you good.
Blame a stuffy nose. All right, we will go to Asher to start us off for the sit-ems for the week.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty standard one, but I'm going to go with Tua against Carolina. I know Carolina's defense. I know Carolina's not a defense that they should be with all the weapons that they have. They haven't performed as well as they could. But going against Tua, I see a great opportunity for Carolina's defense to be able to stop Miami offense that isn't great to begin with. I still see Jalen Waddle having a fantasy relevant game, but I don't see Tua having one whatsoever. I think he's going to get picked apart by Carolina. I think they're coming into this game with their head on high. So
that secondary is just nasty now that they got Stephon Gilmore healthy and in there.
Yep. So I'm going to go with Tua as my sit.
I'll get J.C. Horn back next year. It's going to be
yeah. J.C. Horn. All right.
That man's nuts.
Oh, he's amazing. He's great.
Yeah.
Cody, who you got?
So another guy with that look in his eyes these last few games, man. I don't know what's gotten into him lately, but Matt Stafford, man. I'm not big on Matty Stafford this week. He's got the Packers. He hasn't had the best history track record against the Packers in his career. This week he's got a rematch with Rodgers like the old days, and Jair Alexander's on the other side of the ball, man. We know he's a lockdown shadow guy, and Packers are allowing the fifth least points to quarterbacks. It's just not something I'm super, super excited about this week to have Matthew Stafford in my lineup.
I like it. That's a huge one.
100%. I didn't even think about the fact that Stafford's going back to Green Bay. I'm not going to lie. I love that.
The past few weeks, he's just kind of looked like a different guy than he has to start the season.
The only thing that I think saves him this week is the fact that they're coming off a bye and a rest week where he has time to reconnect with Cooper Kupp.
You would think, but teams coming off the bye have been like 4-11 this year, man.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think with these COVID protocols, I'm pretty sure you can't practice or something on your bye week.
They could do film sessions, I think, but I think actually, I don't even know. I'm not even going to comment because I don't really know. So
yeah, I got to dig more into it. I think I read something about that, like because I was reading about how teams are like 4-11 this year after the bye, and they're having troubles because they can't do anything besides like you said, like I think just film study and stuff for that bye week.
That's both good and bad because you get to rest your body and they can come in fully healthy or whatever, but they also could come in stiff if that's the case. So
yeah,
totally can understand that one there. I'm going with someone I'm kind of surprised neither of you went with this, just based on how beaten up his team is, but I'm going with Ryan Tannehill versus the Patriots.
Yeah, that's a big one. I like that. I'm so happy you said that.
Yeah.
I know that versus the Patriots, quarterbacks are, I believe, they're the 26th ranked team versus the quarterback position. I'm trying
They
to,
shut them down. They absolutely shut them down.
yeah,
I'll
they're
put it this way.
averaging.
Ryan Tannehill's over-under this week on DraftKings Sportsbook opened up at over-under 225 passing yards. It's now gone down to like 211.
Yeah, the quarterbacks are averaging 17 points versus New England, and I don't think Tannehill comes anywhere near that this week.
I've said it once and I've said it before. I don't like anybody on Tennessee. I think their record is not reflective of how good that team is. They suck. I don't like Tennessee.
So
I don't understand how they beat good teams though. Like, didn't they beat the Bills?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, the last 4 weeks the Patriots have played these quarterbacks like Justin Herbert week 8 finished quarterback 18, Sam Darnold week 9 finished quarterback 29, Baker Mayfield finished quarterback 29, Matt Ryan finished quarterback 30.
And it's gonna just be even worse for Tannehill because I can't name other than Westbrook, whatever the heck the second half of that last name is. Can anyone tell me another receiver?
Westbrook and Des Fitzpatrick, and then you got like Rodgers.
What's his first name? Chester.
Yeah.
I knew it was somewhere there. Like there is no way, and then they don't have a running back where they can just run him 40 times a game.
No,
like
they
there
don't.
there is no way. And their tight end. I don't know why they didn't use Ferkser because they paid him a lot of money, I believe, to stay after losing Jonnu, and he was a tight end last year that was a consistent like sleeper tight end week in week out,
especially in the red zone.
Especially in the red zone, but they can't seem to get him involved. So maybe he's the one guy that's going to benefit from that. I didn't even think about that until I started talking about it, but I don't know. Like, there's just no way Tannehill has a good week this week, I think.
No, not at all, man. I want no part of that.
I want no part of it. All right. We will then go back to Asher for our sit-em running backs this week.
Yeah. This week I'm gonna sit Myles Gaskin against Carolina. I went to I'm going Gaskin this week, and I'm going just strictly off like trends and how he's played throughout the season. I mean, every other week it seems like he has an all right game and then falls off immediately. Anytime he plays somewhat of a decent rush defense. I mean, he's really screwed the pooch every other week after having a big performance. Last week he had 18 points against the Jets. I don't see him scoring anywhere over 7 points this week, so I'm sitting Gaskin.
That was my selection as well. I 100% agree with that.
He was one in there on my list.
Yep. Cody, who you going
Philip
with?
Lindsay's now on the fold.
I forgot about that.
He absolutely is. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So I'm looking at Devontae Freeman this week. I know a lot of people probably picked him up as a waiver wire kind of guy. I don't think this is the week to do it, to be honest with you, against the Browns. They got they're ranked 20th in the league for points against the running back. It's more towards not even middle of the pack. They're actually more above average against the run. So I'm not really interested in this one too much. I think Lamar's going to have to kind of get it done more with his arm this week and his own legs. I don't think he's going to be able to rely on his rushing game.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to go with the Baltimore running backs in general because some other people are also saying this is a Latavius Murray week. It's kind of like a Bones Day or no Bones Day over there in Baltimore.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. You got other running backs getting mixed in.
Yeah, the Baltimore backfield is, I think, my least favorite backfield in any team or on any team in sports.
I would say so, outside of Houston, maybe.
Yeah, but even that, they're only running two guys now. They only have David Johnson and Rex Burkhead.
It helps that Lindsey and Ingram are out of the picture.
100%. I'm going to go with Alex Collins versus Washington this week.
Another one.
Washington gives up 16 points a game on Yahoo. I know this is probably different. That's why I'm clarifying it's on Yahoo because it seems to have very similar numbers to the one Cody is using. But Washington's giving up the second fewest points to the running back position. Everyone's talking about him being hyped up this week because Penny is out and he's going to get the lion's share. Washington versus the wide receiver position, I believe. Where did they go? They're towards the top for points given up to the wide receiver position, I believe. Okay. I think this is going to be a big Russ week. I think that Carroll is going to try and get Russ involved with his arm more after the pitiful comeback last week. And it's going to be a big day for Lockett and or DK. And I think that Collins is going to be the man left out. He seems like strictly upside play to me, but there doesn't seem to be too much of it. You're only playing him because of his snap count and his touch percentage. But I absolutely hate Collins this week versus the Washington defense.
It's a shootout game.
100%.
That's funny because he was actually my backup.
There you go.
Yeah.
You guys took my 1 and 2, so I went to my 3. Look at that. We're all in the same headspace.
Yeah.
Asher, you want to hit us up with one of your sit-em wide receiver picks?
Absolutely, I'd love to. This is, some people might see this as a hot take. I see it as like it should be standard until he shows us that I'm wrong, or until he shows me that I'm wrong. I'm going to go Odell Beckham Jr. Against Green Bay. Everyone saw him coming into the system after Robert Woods tore his ACL. I still think the Beckham family has some answering to do. No, but in all seriousness, when he came into the system, he only had 3 targets all game with 2 receptions and 18 yards. Until I see more out of him, I don't trust starting him in any league whatsoever. So he's a clear-cut sit to me. Until Matthew Stafford can establish that connection and they start using him more and show that Cleveland wasn't the reason that he kind of fell off, I'm not touching Odell until then.
And that's when I said sit Matthew Stafford, that's actually a really good point I should have brought up, is that Odell is actually hurting that offense right now.
Yeah.
With Odell, I don't know how many people have actually seen an NFL playbook, but the thing's like seriously probably like 6 inches thick, man. The thing is, to learn and study that playbook, it takes some guys a year, 2.5 years just to really get the playbook down, man. And especially Sean McVay's is so complex. These guys, Sean McVay wants to hurry up and run that hurry up offense, where now these guys you see them going from hurry up to, oh, we got to hurry up and huddle now and get Odell to play and get him, linked up with what we're trying to do. And they can't run that hurry up offense like they want to.
100%. Are we starting to see Odell as the problem for a bunch of these teams?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, you can't really say no at this point, can you?
Or is it Odell Beckham's dad?
It's something. It has to be something, because he kind of ruined his time out there in New York, then went to Cleveland, didn't really do much, seemed to kind of be dragging the team down. As Justin was saying earlier, the Browns are a much better team, or a much better offense without Odell in the system. And now we're kind of seeing it with the Rams. The Rams and Matthew Stafford kind of fallen off as of late, ever since Odell kind of joined the mix. So it's hard to say no.
But is that more that Odell has joined the mix, or is that because Robert Woods is gone? Because I think Robert Woods, while Cooper Kupp was the main guy, and I think that he is the one that also, by the way, Justin, congrats on your money line with soccer. I forgot I left that up, and he's saying, yes, screw Odell. But I think that it could potentially be more of Robert Woods' presence is no longer there, because Cooper Kupp, when he was the main guy the first couple of weeks, he was popping off, and Robert Woods was kind of getting left in the fold, but he was also drawing some of the better corners on him, because the plays that they did not put a good corner on Robert Woods, he went off for a big catch. That's when he had got most of his points for the game. Now, Odell is a deep ball receiver, very much like Cooper Kupp, in my opinion, even though I think he's more skilled in the short and mid game. I think Odell is kind of now eating into maybe some of Cooper Kupp's deep ball threats, because that's all Odell can really run right now with the Rams. Maybe it'll be different this week that he's had a full week in the system now, or I guess 2 weeks. I don't really know, but I think that it's going to be very interesting to see this week how he fits in with Cooper Kupp now, because if anything, I think he hurts Cooper Kupp, and that affects Matt Stafford more so because of how close Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford are. I mean, Justin loves bringing up the point that they go to breakfast every single morning together before practice, Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford.
Yeah,
So
I feel
they're
like that
very
was something he brought from with I think low key he was doing that with Calvin or something, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna bring this over with Cooper, man, and figure something out.
I mean, it worked for the beginning of the year, but they need to get that magic back. Justin has a question for his fantasy. Guys,
I'm just trying to make sure I can read it correctly.
Whoa. No.
I'm just
don't
saying
think
no.
so.
I don't.
No.
I'm not. I mean, I understand Justin's not the biggest fantasy guy, so I'm not gonna downplay the question because I mean a lot of guys that aren't invested in fantasy would probably be asking the same thing.
Yeah.
But as a kind of like a fantasy enthusiast, at this point I would never bench JT.
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind that he should be the fantasy MVP this year.
I
If
actually
he
took a
keeps
prop
playing.
for him today for over 3.5 receptions. I think he gets involved in the passing game a little bit this week.
So no, do not bench JT. I don't care who it's for.
Who are the Browns playing again? Is it Pittsburgh?
The Ravens.
No, Baltimore. Yeah.
Baltimore.
Chubb is not a bad play. Don't get me wrong. I just think JT is always going to be the better play.
Oh, always. Yeah, I mean, there's literally two guys in the league right now, and it was Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry. One of them's not playing. Like, you have to start Jonathan Taylor.
So Baltimore on Yahoo averages 19 points to the running back. Tampa averages 17 to the running back. So that 2 points is not as significant as it's made out to be, in my opinion. So I'd rather play in my opinion, this is no offense to Nick Chubb, the more talented running back and the hotter running back right now for the upside that he's the entire Colts offense again this week.
And it's the highest point total on the slate.
Exactly, 100%. So I would also agree that benching JT is something that should not be considered until further notice, if at all. Thank you for that, Justin. Where were we? Who just went last?
I believe we talked about OBJ last.
Yeah, we just talked about OBJ with Asher.
That was my sit.
All right, Cody, what do we got?
I'm going to be looking. We already talked about him a little bit. It's Courtland Sutton, man. This guy will stay on my bench until he proves me otherwise. And now you got the Chargers are allowing them 7th least passing yards per game. And since, like I said, we talked about since Judy returned, man, it's been like Sutton's just kind of disappeared, and he's just not there. I mean, we even seen Tim Patrick kind of get more work than him, it seems like. And plus, like I said, the Chargers allow a lot of work on the ground, man. They kind of give up a lot of work to the running backs. I think this is the Javonte Williams week, going back to my start. So, Courtland Sutton, he's not a guy I think is going to get in the mix.
You know, I was talking highly of Javonte Williams with Corey when we did our cast yesterday, and he kept bringing up the same thing that everyone brings up when I have this conversation. He brought up the fact that as long as Melvin Gordon is there, he agrees that Javonte Williams is a fantastic running back and he will be for Denver. But as long as Melvin Gordon's there, I think he said he thinks that Javonte will always be under his shadow. I highly disagree, especially this week. But
when you see that fumble, man, it was that was what really got me. I actually was trading him in my season-long leagues. I had him in a couple, and I traded him on both just for that same reason. I thought Melvin Gordon was kind of going to be that thorn in his side. And last week when I seen that fumble and he was just on the field basically the rest of the game, I was like, oh, man, we might see this guy in the doghouse.
Corey also brought up the fact that Melvin Gordon is playing his old team this week. So,
also, good point. Melvin Gordon revenge game. I hadn't even thought about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always talk about the Melvin Gordon revenge game though, and it never comes. Like, I think last year when they played the Chargers, he put up like 15, which was okay. So I know I said to start both the Denver running backs was going to be my number one choice this week, but I hate playing up or playing down that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like I don't like the revenge game stuff. I'm gonna give like 1.5 of my sit-em wide receiver because I had 2 written down, and I feel like we've really talked about one of them already, so I don't really want to go back into it. With Kenny Golladay versus the Eagles, I know we were talking injury and how we were talking Galladay's not it. So that's kind of like my half. I just wanted to rehash that I would not start Kenny Golladay this week. But the one that I really want to talk about is Tyler Boyd versus Pittsburgh this week.
That's another one I had wrote down.
Yeah, I absolutely hate Boyd this week. We saw him last week. I think he had a relatively decent week, but since Jamar Chase has come on the scene and since T. Higgins has come back, Boyd is the forgotten middle child here. He's running out of the slot, which is not really his forte. He doesn't have the speed to kind of get away fast enough, I guess, if you want to put it that way. He looks very slow off the line, and he's just not a guy that Burrow has chemistry with. I mean, he's played with Chase. You know, everyone's playing up the whole him and Chase college thing, and it's working out, and it's great. And T. Higgins was, in my opinion, the wide receiver one last year that he built up chemistry with. So now Boyd has just slowly kind of been phased out a little bit, even though he gets a big play here or there. But I think that this is going to be another week, especially versus this Pittsburgh defense, where if he is going to be going over the top or going over the middle, he's going to have to face some really solid defenders. Do we know, actually, we didn't go through defensive injuries, and I guess one we should have checked in on was TJ Watt. Does anyone know if he's playing?
Ooh, that is a good point.
Let me check.
I am looking through the keys. I don't see him on the injury report.
He is full participant in practice. He's in.
So he's back. There's going to be a pass rush on Burrow. He's going to panic and try to get the ball out. It's probably not going to Boyd because he knows that Higgins is a guy that can be kind of a reception beast and make the catch. And Jamar has the potential. I think every single time he touches the ball, he has the potential to take it into the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar and Higgins are both they're alphas in the league, man. It's hard to try and surpass those guys. And
yeah, nice young wide receiver duo this year. Do you remember last week when I was talking about my premonition about Elijah Moore?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, well, all I could hear about when making some of my lineups today was in the back of my mind. I just kept hearing Boyd. So I'm actually kind of high on Boyd this week. That is my premonition take for this week. I like Boyd, not for the simple fact that he has T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
And your last name.
Shouldn't. Yeah, well, there's that too. But
maybe that's why you heard Boyd. Maybe this is your week, Asher. Maybe this is your week.
Yes, maybe, but I'm still going Boyd. I'm riding the Boyd train. All right, this week he is my premonition take. I'm gonna make that a weekly thing.
One other thing I thought I should point out. It's kind of funny. I know you mentioned Kenny Galladay. It's just kind of funny, man. You know, between what they gave him $77 million this offseason. So I mean, between your $70 million free agent receiver and your first round pick, you've got 0 touchdowns between the two of them.
I was going to say, did you guys know that between the two wideouts that the Giants brought in, Andrew Thomas, the old lineman, has scored more touchdowns this week?
Right, seriously. This whole season, Andrew Thomas has more touchdowns than Galladay and Kadarius Toney combined.
Yes, sir. I thought that was funny. I thought that was great.
Boyd's premonition take, he's taking Boyd this week. You heard it here first.
Boyd's Boyd.
Yeah. And last time he played Pittsburgh, he put up a touchdown as well this year.
There we go. Justin, I know you asked to show this at the end of the show, but since we're on our wide receivers, I think this is a really, really good question just because of the talent involved in the question. I'm assuming this is for his Pirate League, but of
I
these
sure
four
hope
receivers,
this is Pirate League.
who are we sitting out of these? Because I actually have a very – actually, is there 5? There's 5, not 4.
All right. Well, on first glance, my pick 3 is going to be Debo, Cup, and Godwin.
Whoa. I was going to go Debo, DK, Cup.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I didn't think about the repercussions of this question.
The reason I didn't go DK is because I still haven't seen Wilson perform as he could after his injury. I don't feel safe putting up DK yet. I know he's a wide receiver that can make anything happen with the ball. Wilson will get the ball into his hands. I just like Debo, Cup, and Godwin a little bit more because they're well established with their quarterbacks, and their quarterback isn't playing with 4 fingers.
I think Cup is a 100% has to play. Debo, who are the 49ers playing this week?
The
My
Vikings.
My Vikes, baby.
And
We have
worth
we
noting,
have an
some-
atrocious. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I
No,
really
no, you're
like
good.
to. I'm loving the Vikings and 49ers game this week. I keep bringing it up, man. I love this game. It's one of my favorite games on the slate for fantasy. And I love your Vikings this week, man. Something I've been riding this year, a little gem, is Jonathan Vilma. When he is announcing a game, the away team is 11-1 this year.
I love Jonathan Vilma.
Let's
against
go.
the spread. So I actually took the Vikings this week. I got Kirk Cousins starting. You know what I'm saying? The Dalvin Cook, all the Vikings I can get in there. I want, and Ayuk. Like, I think it's gonna be a big game.
I'm gonna go with Cup, Debo, and I'm gonna go with DK. This is an interesting stat that Justin also just threw out there. Russell Wilson is his sleeper quarterback for the week. He's 10-2 in Monday Night Football games.
When he has 5 fingers, yeah.
I mean, he should be more healthy than he was last week. I think that DK has been very up and down this year, even though he's maintained a relatively consistent number. I think that he's been bailed out by some big plays, but I think that Carroll is going to kind of recognize that what he's doing isn't working, hence his record. And I think he's going to try and let Russ cook a little bit more. And I know that we were talking about last week, Russ coming in and cooking, but now that he's healthy, I think we'll see him open the playbook a little more.
It's an absolute letdown spot for Washington this week after coming off their Super Bowl win against the Buccaneers.
That's great. Love that.
Yeah, I don't know. Metcalf's stat line isn't making things easy on me either. I mean, he's still receiving targets. He has 8 targets the past 2 games, but he's only coming down with half of them. So I don't know.
I know.
No Chase Young.
Yeah, Chase Young is gone. That's true.
All right.
Sorry, Justin shot me a text. Where were we? I think I just talked about Tyler Boyd.
Tight ends.
Yes, Asher, enlighten us with your tight end pick.
Yeah, it's going to be the same one that I had last week, and I'm going to continue to sit these guys, but I'm going to sit the tight ends from the Cleveland Orange Helmets. I'm not going to trust them. I'm not going to trust them in fantasy for the rest of the year, in my opinion. They still don't have a clear-cut tight end one. It seems like
They
both
should,
tight ends are.
but
they don't have a clear-cut quarterback.
That's also true. The passing game isn't anything special whatsoever, and I think they're going to continue to go with the run. So I would never feel confident starting either of those tight ends.
It should be Njoku. We can all agree on that, please.
Running game or bust.
Yeah. I think it should be in Njoku as well.
Oh, wow. You're pissing Justin off today, Asher. No. Man.
That's tough.
That's horrible.
Wow.
I would never hope something like that, but you know what? It's well-deserved.
Justin has talked about for several weeks in a row now that he's never been one to not root for injuries, as he puts it.
That's also true. Yeah.
So, I think we could have kind of expected that a little bit.
Well, even if, God forbid, it ever happens, we still have Madison, which is a mini Dalvin Cook. So,
Dalvin Cook light.
Yeah.
Cody, where are we going next?
All right, I'm actually not too high on Mr. Hunter Henry this week against the Titans, man.
Damn you!
I've liked Hunter Henry as like kind of a streaming tight end this season. I've had him a lot in my waivers and start guys I like to start usually throughout this year, but he's been kind of touchdown dependent. And so far, the last few weeks, it seems like New England's offense has kind of relied on the explosive kind of plays from guys like Kendrick Bourne and things like that. And, Mac Jones, he's got, I think, like one of the lowest average like depth of targets per game. Like he's not really getting the ball out at a very lengthy part of the field. He's just getting a lot of dink and dunks, kind of like Big Ben. And it's working, don't get me wrong, but they're getting a lot of explosive plays and yards after the catch, you know what I'm saying, that are leading to bigger gains. And I think they're going to kind of depend on that again this week. So I'm not too high on Hunter Henry. I don't trust him with the touchdown dependency.
Yeah, I also had Hunter Henry written down. The 2 stats for me regarding him that made me kind of cool off Hunter Henry a bit. He's only topped 42 yards once this season. And over the past 8 games, he has 7 touchdowns. So he's literally the definition of a touchdown-dependent play. And the Titans are a bottom 5 matchup for fantasy tight ends. They only have allowed 3 touchdowns this season. So I 100% agree with Hunter Henry play. Because I need to be different and unique, though, I will be going with one of Asher's guys, surprisingly. I'm going with Tyler Conklin. Tyler Conklin's a guy that I have been very, very high on this year. I've plugged and played him in several leagues. I have him on a bunch of my teams. But the San Francisco 49ers give up the absolute fewest points to tight ends. They give up 6 points per game, according to Yahoo Stats. They find a way to shut them down. I don't know what it is or why, because I don't think that they have like an overly amazing coverage linebacker. Is Fred Warner coverage guy? Does he drop back a lot?
He can. I mean, he does both.
Okay.
It's Fred Warner. He does everything.
That's true. But I don't think that Conklin is a guy this week that is going to have this breakout game. And I don't know, once they get into the red zone, Asher, you could talk about more about this a little bit more, but I don't really see them going to Conklin a lot in the red zone.
Well, it's because Kirk Cousins is finally starting to throw 50-yard bombs.
Yeah.
So
he's
we
low
don't need
key
that
been. I mean, he's got 21 touchdowns to 2 interceptions this year.
Something like that.
Yeah. He's been cooking. They finally opened up the playbook, even though Kirk did come out last week and said he felt uncomfortable doing so, which isn't good news. But at the same time, I don't see anything changing as long as Mike Zimmer continues to tell him to throw the deep ball.
Earn your money, big man.
Yeah, for real. Tyler Conklin, he was a huge red zone target. It's been kind of inconsistent as of late. I would have to agree. He might be a sit this week. I know seeing him against the Chargers, he was a huge red zone target. Last week against Green Bay. We had chances. We were in the red zone a few times, and I didn't see much targets going to him. More so having either Dalvin Cook run up the middle or seeing Adam Thielen or Justin Jefferson getting those slanted screens. So it's give or take. It's kind of like a weekly inconsistency with Tyler Conklin, but
I had to go there.
Same with like the Hunter Henry thing I was saying. He's a very touchdown dependent kind of lately.
Yeah.
All right, and then we move on to our speed round of defenses. Asher,
who's starting? Okay.
Asher, you have all the sits.
Oh, all right. My sit defense this week is going to be Indianapolis Colts. I know they've been playing out of their mind. It might be kind of a bold take. Most people will probably say, but once you're going against Tom Brady and the lethal weapons that the Bucs have, so much versatility in that offense, it's kind of hard to ever start an offense against that system. So I'm going to go with the Colts as my sit.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, don't start them against the Buccaneers. I'm going to go with the Jets actually this week. I've seen some people actually picking them up, thinking they're playing the Texans, and this could be like an ugly defensive game. But I don't think this one's as close as people think. I think the Texans are going to come in and kind of churn out a win here. Let's come in here, get the job done, and go home.
Absolutely, I love the pick.
100% agree on every facet of that. I know it's my team, and I probably shouldn't be shit-talking them, but
if my team was shitty, I'd be doing the same thing, so don't feel bad.
Oh, it's not even that. It's literally the Jets. I'm not even going to get into the numbers. They suck. And they're also like pretty beat up and injured. So good pick. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers versus the Rams defense. The Rams have been just locked down most of the year. They've been wildly inconsistent, but I think now that they have all of their pieces and they are starting to integrate them more, i.e. Von Miller, I think that's going to be a good game for them to kind of come in and try and stop the Packers.
Yeah, that trade really bit Denver Broncos in the ass. Bradley Chubb, I'm pretty sure, is out. He's injured.
Oh, he's coming back now. He was injured.
Oh, okay.
But I guess that's also the Green Bay defense I'm talking about. I guess.
No. Yeah, no, I just decided to throw a jab at the Broncos in there.
It's perfect.
I still smell foul play with that trade.
100%. There's got to be something.
I still call it, man. I mean, the owner of the Rams also just happens to be an owner of the Avalanche and another sport. Oh, the Nuggets. He just happens to be the owner of the Avalanche and the Nuggets.
You said you posted that TAV group, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think with the defense finally coming together, that'll give the offense more time on the field, which means that the Packer defense will not perform as highly as everyone expects. With that, I will go. You guys will each kind of hop back and forth on the sleepers. I'll let Cody start with the sleeper quarterback this week.
All right. I probably should have used Tyrod here, but I guess I'll flip-flop a little bit. I'm going to go with I don't know who to go with between. I got two of them I could go with. We'll go with Joe Burrow in the divisional game against the Steelers, man. The Steelers aren't too awesome this year. I mean, they've been a little bit better in years past, and this year they're not like a showstopper or nothing. And this week, like I said, it's a divisional matchup. It's a hard one. TJ Watt's playing. Burrow he's probably going to take a sack or two, and I'm fully expecting that. But I totally see Jamar Chase and T. Higgins just getting kind of buck wild in this one.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's kind of scaring me. Beginning of the first half of the season, he was throwing tutties on tutties on tutties. He never left a game without at least 2 or 3 touchdowns a game. Past 2 games, he's been, especially against Cleveland's defense and Las Vegas's defense.
I would have preferred to use Kirk Cousins as my starter and kept Tyrod Taylor as my sleeper, but I used Taylor as my starter, so I was like,
No, don't get me wrong. I think Burrow, especially in a divisional matchup, it kind of changes the dynamic of how players play, in my opinion. So Burrow could have he in my eyes, he's more of a boom or bust this week, but I do like him as a sleeper.
Yeah, as a sleeper. If I could switch it up, I would switch it around and go back and say Kirk Cousins would be my starter of the week and Tyrod is my sleeper.
I'll allow it. I can tell you exactly what happened to Joe Burrow and the Bengals if you guys really want to know. I'm one of the few that understands it.
Go for it.
You see, what happened was they played the Jets, right? And the Jets beat them, right? And every team that plays the Jets just is progressively worse throughout the season. Look at the Titans now as well, right? And, very big and here, what we're seeing is the Jets knocked the Bengals back down to size. They were playing at this like Super Bowl bound team, and then they lost to the Jets, and they're like, oh my God, we lost to the Jets. We can't win the Super Bowl, and now they have no self-confidence.
Do you want to hear my theory?
Yes.
It's not going to be very Jet friendly.
That's okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, for the simple fact that any team that goes against the Jets are coming into that week, they're probably using this time as kind of like a vacation or
100%.
Maybe even a second bye.
That's what I'm saying.
As soon as they're done playing the Jets, they don't want to get back into this grind of watching gameplay every single day. So I think they're kind of slacking as soon as they play the Jets. So like,
that's what I'm saying. The Jets knocked them back to size when they won.
I'm personally off Zach Taylor. I don't think he's a head coach in the league, man. I think he's fit to be a coordinator.
I'm surprised that he's even a coordinator in your eyes. I don't like anything about what he's doing other than the use of Joe Mixon. I love Joe Mixon. I needed to get that in there once this show. It's fine. Asher, quarterback.
All right. Well, considering I'm still on this apology tour, I'm gonna have to finally say congratulations to my boy Taylor Heineke. You're officially on my sleeper roster, my sleeper lineup.
The better side of things.
After being sat in my fantasy podcast for the past 3 weeks, I'm gonna start him, or I'm gonna use him as my sleeper this week against Seattle, who's been absolutely atrocious when it comes to any defense whatsoever. Taylor Heineke's kind of been playing out of his mind, leading his team to wild victories, once against Tampa and a few throughout the season. Washington looks like they want to be here. They want to play football, and Taylor Heineke is wanting to be the starting quarterback for that system. So I don't think that changes here. I think he has a great matchup with Seattle, and he's my sleeper quarterback.
Gets the people going. What can I say?
Yeah, congrats to Taylor Heineke. You finally made it.
You finally made it onto Asher's good side.
Yes.
I like the Heineke play this week. Seattle, absolutely. I believe. Yeah, they're giving up the 7th most points to fantasy quarterbacks this year.
Oh yeah, it's a shootout game.
Oh God, 100%. I'm starting to get to the point where I can't
I like this game. I think Terry McLaurin and DK Metcalf just kind of go to battle. They're just going to both try to go off in this one, man.
I'm excited to see it. I'm here for it.
100%. Loved. I think. Do we see another like crazy Terry McLaurin catch this week?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's due pretty much every week at this point.
Who's covering that, man?
On Seattle's defense, no idea.
Who knows?
Blitz boy. This may be a bit of a homer pick, but I also think that the matchup is a little favorable. I'm going to go with Zach Wilson as my sleeper in case he comes in and doesn't play like Zach Wilson. Like he did the one other time I picked him as a sleeper.
Bold pick.
It's Houston's defense. They're giving up the 9th most fantasy points. We talked about Elijah Moore popping off this week for my starter, and Asher agreed with me on that being a starter. The only way he's going to get the ball and get the opportunity to blow up is if Zach Wilson has a good game. So I'm going to use him as my sleeper this week.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and act like I have a backup. That's exactly where I was going to go.
Oh, shoot. I thought you went already. Wow.
He did go with quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did go.
Oh, all right. Yeah, cool.
Who'd he go
I was
with?
looking at my list.
He ended up going with Joe Burrow.
But
then he wanted the trade out.
Yeah, he did Kirk Cousins as the starter and Tyrod.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're good. I'm good. We're fine.
Yeah.
So I think Cody started with that one, I believe. Asher, start us off with the sleeper running backs.
Yeah, my sleeper running back. Unfortunately, I have to do it to my Vikings, but my sleeper is going to be Elijah Mitchell.
Love it.
I know he had a questionable designation coming into the game, but even if he does play, our entire defensive line, our starting defensive line is banged up, which is going to create huge holes for Elijah Mitchell to be able to exploit. Elijah Mitchell has been seen in the past game as well. I think in PPR leagues, he's a viable play. I think he is a worthy flex play this week. And yeah, Elijah Mitchell, I'm expecting him to have a day.
I love the pick.
Yeah, before I seen he was playing, I was really high on Jeff Wilson. Now that he's back in, I'm kind of more leaning towards the Mitchell side.
I don't like Jeff Wilson. I've never have. I thought he was always taking touches from people.
I like the matchup is what I like for this week at least. For this backfield, I didn't think Mitchell was going to be playing at the beginning of the week.
Oh, here we go. We got a question before we go on to Cody's running back. Was that Splashy Molly asking
Javonte.
Ty Johnson or Javonte Williams? Yeah, I'm going with Javonte Williams as well, even though I like both of these guys this week. I guess I'll get into it a little bit in a minute. Asher, what you think?
Chargers are horrible against the run.
I'm going to go Javonte Williams, although I do like Ty Johnson a lot, especially with Michael Carter out. But as far as fantasy-wise go and fantasy relevance, I'm going Javonte Williams.
Yeah, I think that's a unanimous Javonte Williams from us here. But if you're looking for another flex play, potentially Johnson's a solid option.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question, though, Splashy Molly. Cody, we're going to run back over to you for the running back position.
Yes, I'm going with Ty Johnson.
Yep, there it is. Thank
to.
God, because I didn't want to have two Jets in my picks. Thank you.
Yeah, I got to go with Ty Johnson, man. Prior to the last week, he was getting, he had 7 targets week 7, 6 targets week 8, 3 in week 9, but 8 again in week 10. Michael Carter's out, and this is a game where I think Zach Wilson's going to want to kind of check down to the running back and quite a few times in this one, and he's going to want to have to throw the ball against these Texans. I don't think the game script really plays to their favor. So I like Ty Johnson.
I 100% agree with that. I especially with Michael Carter going down, I think that he's going to take over the pass catching role.
Absolutely, and I've even seen him get used outside on the perimeter with like they'll throw Coleman in the backfield and have Johnson split out.
100%. I absolutely love the pick, especially since no one really knows Ty Johnson. Like, he's a PPR magnet out of the backfield. People haven't recognized it, but I picked him up a couple weeks ago, and he came
from Detroit. It's the only reason I really know much about him.
There you go. Oh, we have another question that I guess just came in now from Splashy Molly.
Ayuk easily all the way.
Yeah, Marquez Valdez-Scantling or Brandon Ayuk, full PPR. Asher, did you go with Ayuk as your starter?
I did.
Oh,
No, I did
there
not.
It is.
See, reading this, I want to go Ayuk, but I also like the tenacity of MVS's game, especially seeing last week against my Minnesota Vikings. He has shown that he could be a deep ball threat. The man is wicked fast. Jalen Ramsey is going to be sticking on Devontae Adams, so that's already a mismatch. And I see MVS having a good game, but I mean, Minnesota's pass defense is just absolutely atrocious, so I'm going to go Ayuk.
Excuse me. Yeah, 100%. I understand where you're coming from, but I feel that MVS is so boom or bust. He reminds me so much of Will Fuller when he was on the Texans. I'm going with Ayuk a little bit because I think he's going to, like we talked about, he's out of the doghouse. But I also think that he has the potential to be more of a kind of like how Deebo Samuel is utilized kind of everywhere. I have a feeling that Ayuk, we saw it last year with Ayuk, but I think he has the opportunity to do that as well. And I think as he comes more and more out of the doghouse, Shanahan will use him more and more like Samuel just to open up that offense a little bit more. So I'm going with Ayuk this week on that. Where were we? Where did we go? Anyone remember?
Wide receivers.
I think
I just Ty Johnson, didn't I? Are you on back?
Gotcha.
Did he go mute?
Yeah, no, my cord to my microphone is like very sensitive, so if I touch it or move it, like when I'm moving my microphone, it like cuts out for a second. So, I guess this is a sleeper because people know him as a household name, but he hasn't been performing that well this year. I'm going with Antonio Gibson this week versus Seattle. We saw him put up 21 points versus the Tampa Bay defense, which has been amazing versus the run.
Amazing versus everything.
Amazing versus everything, indeed. But we saw him last week go down to 6 points versus Carolina, who, if there's one place that they're susceptible, it's to the run. I think that Gibson is kind of being overshadowed because of the game script that Washington puts themselves in. They're going to need to throw the ball downfield. They try to get Terry McLaurin involved. Curtis Samuel, I think, is he coming back this week? He was on the injury report.
Oh, that's a good question. I've been seeing him come in. I've been wanting to stash him. I wasn't sure if he was back this week or next week.
He's questionable this week. He's been doing limited practice all week. And Adam Humphries, who had a big couple catches late last week, also questionable. So if DeAndre Carter is operating as their number 2 role, I think that only increases the ceiling for Antonio Gibson, who not only should be getting a lion's share of the rushing touches, but I think he is a good pass catcher. The only issue with that is they have J.D. McKissick, who is a great pass catcher out of the backfield. But I'm going to go with Gibson this week. I think he has one of his up weeks, which he hasn't really had too many of this year other than the Tampa game in week 10 and the New Orleans game in week 5. We're kind of approaching that time where he's going to need to have another big game, or he's at least due another big game. So I'm going with Antonio Gibson this week.
I love the play, man. I really love that play.
I'm kind of surprised. I'm looking on Sleeper. He's only running back 23 this year, and this is after he was like super hyped up.
Yeah, I mean, he was going in like round 2 this past year.
Yeah. Okay, with that, Asher, I guess your turn to start us off with the wide receivers.
Yeah, my oh man, I started with the running backs. I want to see if Cody takes one of my wide receivers, so it makes it easier on me.
Fair. Cody, you're up. You're 100% right. By the way, I slept on it.
Did we talk about Devontae Smith yet?
You're about to.
Yeah.
All right, Devontae Smith, division game against the Giants. Giants give the 6 most points against the wide receivers. They've given up 12 touchdowns in the last 10 games. that's a big one for Devontae Smith this week. I think he's been really coming into his own with Jalen Hurts, and he looks like the favorite target in this offense, even after Dallas Goedert goes and gets a huge payday. So,
Oh my God,
Devontae Smith in a division game, start him.
I like that pick. I very much like that pick, actually. Justin and I are not big Devonta Smith fans. That's why I'm a little bummed to talk about him this week. Oh, here we
Giants
go.
are giving up them points.
Giants do be giving up them points. Justin just won $300 on 200. Hey, congrats, buddy. Let's go. I don't know soccer, but I know that $20 into $300 is really good. Congrats.
Ole, 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 ole.
There you go. Asher, what you got?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, he didn't take one of my wide receivers, so I'm kind of battling between two. I wanted to go with my Minnesota Gopher alum, Rashad Bateman, but I'm going to go with a guy that I think Urban Meyer will finally start using or utilizing a little bit more. So I'm going to go Visca Chenault.
Oh, never
I like No, I was Marvin Jones. He's going to get his fair share. I think Laviska Chenault brings versatility and is a little more exciting to me than Marvin Jones is. I think they're going to start using Visca and the pass and run options. So I see Visca Chenault being able to have a fantasy relevant game against a porous Atlanta defense. So I'm going Visca.
Well, I mean, fair enough. Marvin Jones, I guess, will kind of get his fair share.
Yeah,
you're right, 100% on that.
There's got to be more to go around, though. I do agree with that. I'm high. I think Marvin Jones is kind of the wide receiver one in this offense, but you would think Visca would have to get a bump. And like I said, I was talking earlier before we started the cast. It's very interesting to see. I want to know what happens this week with Jamal Agnew going down with the hip. Visca moves back into that slot role that he was prospering in last year, and we'll see what he can do with that. And maybe he gets some more looks in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. I took Laviska Shenault in my dynasty startup, and I'm very pissed with him so far this year. So I'm hoping that now that Agnew's gone, it'll turn out. So maybe I'm just a little biased. We don't know.
And he might even be getting work in the punt and kick returns now with the Agnew's out as well.
I guess they will. Well, don't they have a corner or someone who does it now?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Agnew just went on IR last week.
I don't want to have to rely on punt or kick return game.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just to be fair, I do have a league where you do get it's almost like quarterback scoring.
Okay.
Jamal Agnew was a nice piece because you get 0.25 points for per 10 yards for kick and punt returns.
In that scenario, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Tony Pollard will also be a pretty big one in that piece as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to find a good guy to kind of bring up and talk about because I had, I don't even care. It's going to go in line with my sit-em wide receiver. I'm going with, before we go on, Justin, 100% agreeing with Cody. Oof. They should cut ETN.
Oh my!
What?
Oh, that's a gut punch.
I don't know if you can cut your first round pick because that would make you look like a moron.
Mm-hmm. Especially before he sees the field.
If anything, they're gonna have to trade him or trade James Robinson.
If they cut ETN, Lawrence is gonna be pissed.
Yeah, and
Lawrence will be pissed.
The reason they took him, Justin, you were the one that was talking about it. The reason they took him in the first place was that he had some familiarity and a friend on the team.
Yeah.
Is Meyer moron? Yeah, he is. We all know that. Fair enough. Fair enough. God, cutting ETN would be absolutely insane. I don't think we've ever seen it before.
It's not in the realm of possibilities.
No.
I think the closest thing we've seen to a team cutting a guy early like that would be Washington cutting Haskins. And that was justified.
Yeah, it's true.
So with that, like I said, this is going in tandem with my sit-em wide receiver. I'm going with T. Higgins again. He's had some very up and down weeks the past couple of weeks since returning from his injury. But I think that this Pittsburgh defense is going to be stretched out very thin to try and cover everyone. And I know that he's the second receiving option, but Higgins finds a way to get open, and he has the chemistry with Burrow to find that hole to get open. And make a lot of PPR plays. I remember the 1 week, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, where he had the 15 targets. I think that we could see something like that again today if Burrow's getting in trouble due to the Pittsburgh pass rush with TJ Watt back. So I'm going with T.
You think Higgins is going to be in his escape?
I do. I think Jamar is going to be the deep guy, and he'll maybe get open deeper downfield, but he might not. Burrow might not have the time to get the ball down the field. Whereas I think Higgins runs a lot shorter routes, not necessarily short routes, but shorter than what Chase runs.
He's more the possession kind of guy.
100%. So I'm going with that, with T. Higgins there.
Yeah, I love that play. T. Higgins, they're both just alphas in that offense, man. They're great.
And the fact that they can
Great
get
1A,
both of them
1B.
the ball, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
One of the best wide receiver tandems in the league.
Yeah, and especially for how young they are, I think they're going to be set up for at least the next 5 years just due to their contracts.
Yeah, if they don't get him some offensive line help this year in the offseason, you might see some fires or some riots.
Yeah, Cincinnati will become a very scary town if they take like a wide receiver or something with their first pick. I believe since this is an even one, Asher, start us off with your tight ends.
Yeah. I mean, I know you guys probably have this guy on your list, so I'm not going to go that route. I'll let you guys talk about him. I want to go with a more interesting option in Pharaoh Brown in Houston. He's back. He's active. He's not a big name that a lot of people know about, but I feel like he could be relied heavily as an end zone target for Tyrod Taylor if they get to that point, and if Tyrod doesn't take off with his feet. I like Pharaoh Brown coming into this matchup against the New York Jets. I think he has an opportunity to have a fantasy relevant game. There's not a whole lot to say on Pharaoh Brown. Not a lot of people know who he is, but I think he definitely deserves at least a shot as a red zone target for Tyrod Taylor. And I think he's proven that to this point. So
the Jets also give up the most points to the tight end position, so there's the upside as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cody, where are we going next?
I've been looking at Dan Arnold.
Yeah.
With
damn.
Yeah, another one with
Thought I could sneak it.
The target machine, like 3 weeks prior to last week, Atlanta's top 5 worst against the tight end in the league. It's I think it's a nice matchup for Lawrence this week. I think he can actually kind of get rolling and kind of hit his guys with Marvin Jones, Visca, and Dan Arnold.
Yeah, I was going to go there as well. He's led the team in receiving multiple times this year, and I could honestly see that happening yet again today.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
I wasn't sure if you had more. For mine, I don't know if this is necessarily like a sleeper, but I think that he'll do better than people are even projecting him to do. And it's a game we've talked about a lot. I'm going to go with Dallas Goedert. I know he's a top 10 tight end in the league, but I think that this could be one of those like game-breaking type games we've seen from Dallas Goedert in the past. I think that he has the potential to score 2 touchdowns and break 80 yards, where he's only projected. Oh, crap, where'd he go? I think he's only projected for like 10 points, 12 points. I could see him breaking the 25-point margin this week. I absolutely love him in the red zone this week. Yeah, he's projected for 10. So I'll say that he has the potential to break 20, just to lower my number a little bit. But I think this is going to be a huge game for Dallas Goedert this week.
And he just secured the bag.
And he just secured the bag.
I could have gone with my my first option then. Nobody talked about him. I was going to go Evan Ingram.
That's because I hate Evan Ingram, and I will never choose him for anything ever.
I'm still going to go Pharaoh Brown, but I do like Evan Ingram coming into the game.
Yeah, I like Evan Ingram a lot as a sleeper play.
And then our last thing before we will take any final questions, we're going to talk about our defenses and our sleepers for that. Anyone want to start? I'm open to letting anyone start this one.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go with the Texans D against the Jets, man, with Zach Wilson coming back into the lineup this week.
I can't wait to come on tomorrow and talk about Elijah Moore's 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, I do like Elijah Moore in this game. I think he's an absolute alpha. But, I mean, in the last 2 games, the Texans have got 17 points back-to-back. They're looking scrappy, and that was, against Miami and Tennessee. You got the Jets, it's kind of one of the bottom of the barrel offenses this week. So, I'm going to have him in there as a sleeper.
I mean, that's valid.
I was going to go that route.
I mean, yeah.
It's a solid pick, though. I mean, it's a solid pick. Oh, man. Go ahead, Tom.
Sure. I know that I believe it was Cody was sort of talking about them a little bit, but I'm going with the Charger defense versus Denver. They're not as bad versus the run as this is your fault, Asher, so there you go.
Fair enough.
They're not as bad versus the run as people want to make them out to be. But the thing that is a real heavy hitter for me is the fact that the Denver offense gives up the most points or the second most points to the defense behind the Jets. Denver Broncos versus opposing defenses average about 9 points, where the Jets are averaging 9.5. So I've watched a couple of Charger games this year where they've just played scrappy. And they've been able to get some forced turnovers down the line that really change the outcome of games. And I think that's going to be very important this week versus Denver if they're going to try and stop the two-headed monster at running back and Jerry Jeudy out of the one spot. So I'm going with the Charger defense as my sleeper of the week.
I like it.
Division game. It could be a hard-fought one.
Yeah.
I guess that brings me up, huh?
It do indeed.
Yeah. I'm going to go with an interesting one here. I think my sleeper defense has to be the Washington Redskins. I know without the likeliness of Chase Young or the tenacity that Chase Young brings to the defense, I think the defensive unit for the Washington football team. Sorry.
Oh, well.
My bad. But I do think that defense is still fantasy relevant as far as going into the few next weeks, especially today. They have somewhat of a tough matchup against Seattle, but like I said before, Russell Wilson isn't the type of quarterback that he used to be early on in the season, and I think Washington can exploit that. That's why I'm not huge on DK this week. I've never been huge on the run game. I think Washington has a chance to maintain the sleeper status.
I agree 100%. Washington, I think it's going to be a bit of a difficult matchup if Russ is going to cook. But if Russ looks like he looked like last week, I think that's an amazing pick because they have 0 ground game, as I've talked about as I benched Collins. So absolutely love that pick.
Yep. Good one.
So if anyone has any other questions, feel free to put that in the chat. We'll answer them as soon as we can before kickoff starts in 7 minutes. I know Justin Asher usually does the pick 'em kind of thing at the end of the show where we pick 5 games, but I don't frankly have anything to do with that, or I don't know which games you feel like you'd want to pick if we want to do that. But I also want to there we go. Want to bring up I put in my Thanksgiving parlay that I kind of mentioned at the beginning of the show, where I picked 3 games, where I picked the Bills -7, I picked the Raiders upsetting the Cowboys, and I picked the Bears at the time getting positive odds against the Lions because the Lions were up 7-0. I have since put in another bet for this week, a little bit bigger of a parlay because there were more games. And I want you guys to tell me where you think this goes wrong, because I have a feeling it's going to go wrong in probably 2 spots, but I'm out here trying to win some money.
Yes, Sirski.
Right? I got the Patriots. These are all kind of safe bets, but I have a lot of them. So I went with the Patriots money line over the Titans. I went with the Panthers money line over the Dolphins. I went with the Bucks money line over the Colts. The Eagles money line over the Giants. The Chargers money line over the Broncos, and the Ravens money line over the Browns. I think there are 2 games potentially that could break this ticket, but I want to get your guys' thoughts.
Can you say the first 3 again?
Patriots over the Titans, Panthers over the Dolphins, and the Bucks over the Colts.
Okay, I like all those. But
I do.
mean, out of all of them that could go wrong, I would think it would be Colts Bucks, but I don't see the Bucks losing like that.
That's where I also feel like it could go wrong. That one and the Charger game, Chargers Broncos, because that's like division rivalry game, and the Chargers have been very up and down this year.
No, I like the Chargers for sure in that game. I think that's a solid ticket. I like it. I wouldn't change anything.
I'm not going to change anything, but $20 to win out, 305 on there. So just throwing that out there. I haven't seen any questions come in. Guys, do you have anything else you want to put some light on before this week? Oh, hang on. We got one from my cousin. The Colts and Giants. Good show. Good luck. Hey, good luck, you two. Hopefully you can actually win in Dynasty this week. I actually don't know how good he's doing this year. I kind of forget. Oh, he's 6th. He's 6-5. Who does he have this week? Let's see. Oh, he's got my dad. Matchup of the century. But with that said, guys, do you have anything else you want to shed some light on before the games start today?
Absolutely
I got nothing,
not, man. We're good.
Yeah, great cast, fellas. It was nice to be on again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Welcome on anytime. We do have a show tomorrow. I'm not sure when it's going to be. Asher, if you and I can't line things up because I'm going to be in an airport and you're over in London, I will probably just have you and Justin go tomorrow while I'm up in the air. And yeah, anything else, guys? Any last words?
No, good luck, everybody.
I always like to end on a salute. So salute, everybody.
And I like to end on Skodogs because Skodogs.
Yeah. The Buckeyes. Yeah. Sorry for your loss. We can end on that one.
There we go.